so
worshippers and faithfuls in their millions, and we have yet again delivered safety to all who turned up for prayers today. However, it could have been a disaster if it was not for the vigilance of the security services. This morning at around 8:30, our counterterrorism units intercepted a suicide bomber who was riding on a motorcycle. We intercepted her 600 meters from the Munyonyo Basilica, and that was the ultimate target. If she had managed to infiltrate through, I think we would be talking about a different story now. But we engaged them, and ultimately her explosive she was wearing or carrying in the backpack went off, and the rider also died. The suicide bomber is, and by the way, all these preliminary findings and strongly so point to ADF operatives. This lady, the suicide bomber, has been in our custody before in 2023. I think it was October, and we interrogated her because she had links to ADF. She was known as Aisha Katushabe, also known as Biarohanga Sumaya, also known as Kabonesa, in her 20s. Intelligence findings show that her husband called Muzaffar was killed by our counterterrorism forces in 2021. He was among the group who wanted to bomb the funeral and mourners of the late Deputy Inspector General of Police, Paulo Kechi. That time we arrested some suspects and some were killed. We also know that she was a daughter to Abdu Shakur. Abdu Shakur is the suicide bomber who blew himself at the Central Police Station in Kampala in 2021. The other incident was, I think, along Parliamentary Avenue. So these are strong links to ADF, which we knew about. And in relation to today's event, intelligence was aware that the ADF was planning to attack worshippers and pilgrims on this day. In fact, 2 days ago, we arrested a suspect who is in custody right now, and he gave us very useful information. We found him with laptops and several rounds of ammunition, and the interrogations are still taking place. So we had strong links, and our people on the ground today, we are very vigilant and aware, and we congratulate all the security forces today who are in the field, the UPDF, the Uganda Police Force, and the intelligence services, for preventing a catastrophe. We could have been talking about many people dead and injured today, and the entire city would have been in a panic and confusion. So briefly, that's about the event today, but I think the important message is that we have, again, the security forces delivered a successful Martyrs Day celebrations, and thanks to them, nobody has died, nobody is injured. although there were attempts to do so by some clearly very negative forces in outside. Any questions?
Yes. About the right.
We didn't have sufficient evidence, and by the way, this should also tell you that the security services in Uganda and the justice system generally tries to be fair and considerate, although many people tend to think otherwise. If we don't have concrete evidence about you, we might be suspicious, but if we don't have evidence, then we will be compelled to release you. Because to take someone to court means you must have gathered your evidence, and that person will be prosecuted successfully. So there are definitely some gaps in what we had, and we let her go. But today, we have been vindicated that actually she was indeed a terrorist, even when we arrested her back then. But if you are a criminal, you can last so much. Eventually, the law catches up with you, and your bad deeds catch up with you, and she has perished today. Thankfully, without injuring any other bystanders or worshippers or pilgrims.
My interest is, thank you, sir. My interest is knowing the real profile of this lady beyond the names and what. So where has she been living? Who are they? Her other networks so far? How broad are we going to really bring others that you have been cooperating with in this scheme?
We have a big picture of ADF terrorist networks in this country, but I think it would be inadvisable for me to go into too much details, because otherwise the sleeper cells will become aware, and they can sleep away or change tactics or change strategy or change location and so on. But we know, I've already told you that her two closest associates, there's a problem. I'm in darkness.
Unless we have sound.
No, for you, for others.
So we already know that her two closest associates, her father blew himself up at CPS in, I think it was August 2021 or thereabout, and her husband was also killed by our own forces in 20.
The husband is who?
Her husband was a terrorist called Muzaffar. Muzaffaru, just a moment. Muzaffaru, I have one name, Muzaffaru. Her husband was Abdul Shakur, the suicide bomber who detonated himself at CPS.
That is the father.
Yes, the father is Abdul Shakur. She was a daughter to Abdul Shakur, a suicide bomber who detonated himself at CPS. That was 2021. Her husband, one Muzaffar, was also killed by our security forces in 2021. He was part of the group who tried to attack Munas who had converged at the send-off of the late Deputy Inspector General of Police, Lieutenant General Paulo Kechi. So you can see she has very strong links to ADF networks. We know there is a lot more operatives out there. That's why we are calling for enhanced vigilance by members of the public. If they see anything, if they hear anything, if they see objects they don't understand, they should report them to the security services. And by the way, they have been doing that. I think covered many reports before of bombs we have recovered in different places in Kampala here after tip-off from members of the public. So we are very grateful, and we look forward to this enhanced and close working relationship with the members of the public.
Maybe I would like to ask, because you've talked about the people who are still at Namugongo, those are the pilgrims, because we normally know that they don't always leave that place like immediately, because even you'll find others tomorrow. What is your message to them? Because they will be scared about the bomb which has happened right now. What is your message to them? Are you still providing security? What is your message?
Absolutely. We will not leave our positions until the last pilgrim has departed. This is our modus operandi. Every year. Today is the D-Day, Martyrs Day. But there are events before, during, and after. You've seen many pilgrims have been arriving in Namugongo by foot, escorted by police and the UPDF. So we take care of the pilgrims while they travel to the holy sites, during and after. Many are leaving today, but not all of them will be able to depart. So our security posture will remain the same until everybody has departed back to their destination.